Yes. Hello everyone. Let me figure out what I'm doing again. Add OBS. Wait, no. I gotta get the
Pop
out first. I want to do OBS first, not pop out. Okay. You want it on that side?
It don't matter. I can see either side.
Okay. Alright. Let me figure out.
Hush.
Alright, we're gonna have interference tonight, y'all, just saying. She's been playing or in a playful mood, and she don't want to sleep now. She's been sleeping for what, most of the day?
She's been sleeping for half a day. We wore her out this morning.
Yep, we wore her out this morning. Tell them hey. Lucy. Tell them hey. She said no. Look. She said, I don't know about that. So I'm going to try and get her to sit here in my lap. Maybe. Anyways, I got to be able to see the chat too. Here, let me see if I can see the chat. Paula from Poplarville. Hello. Yeah, so this morning we went over to Deep South and
yeah. I run an airless spray rig all morning.
Like
to warm my arms out. I told Wanda, I said, my poor arm's going to fall off holding that heavy joker up.
Yeah, we're going to, he got the spindles done.
All the white spindles are painted.
Now we still got a lot of blue to do, or gray.
Battleship gray.
Yeah, bluish gray. We got that to do, and then we got the back porch to do.
Then we got the whole deck after that.
But we're trying to do things with...
We're having to work between the rain.
Yeah, we just got rain a while ago.
We got a quarter of an inch a while ago. It's been so hot, so sunny all day. Yesterday did not rain at all. I said,
it didn't rain the day before.
And the day before, I'm like, okay, we got a couple of days of good weather here. And lo and behold, it's hot. I mean, it was crystal blue skies all day. And then about 3:30,
it started raining.
Clouds came in and bottom fell out. Which I'm not going to complain, because normally this time of the year we are begging for rain, and it's a blessing to have it right now, really.
Yeah. So Lucy got to stay in her playpen. She's getting used to the playpen. She did really good, so I didn't have a white dog. She would have been white.
She would have been all white if she'd been running that airless sprayer.
She would have went all over the place.
Yeah.
So we put her in the playpen, and then when we got home, I edited, but she stayed in the laundry room, laying on a rug in front of the laundry. That's her favorite place here lately.
There we go.
They like your shirt.
Everybody likes my shirt.
There you go. That's better.
Since we're redefining everything, this is a cordless hole puncher.
And y'all can find those shirts and the one I've got on, Madam Gardener, at rcfdesigns.com. That's Danny's daughter's.
Let's do this. Hang on here just a minute. Let me do this right here.
You gonna get my lap? Okay. Yeah, I got Lucy sitting in the lap. She's down here.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get her to take a nap. rcfdesigns.com. Carrie has a lot of good designs and stuff. She did that one mainly just for Danny, and so she does have them up on her website. Aren't all hole punchers cordless?
Yeah.
Technically, yes, they are.
I don't know. I mean, no, not actually. They're not. There are electric ones that actually punch holes for books and papers and stuff like that. They're electric.
All right. Wild Turkey said, did you start your catawba trees from seeds?
Yes. My daddy used to do that all the time, and I did what he did. I took them off the tree, put them in the refrigerator, and left them in the refrigerator all winter long. And when springtime come, I went out and shelled them out in the pot, covered them up with dirt, and they came up.
Yeah, Danny tried them all other ways and just didn't have much luck.
Nope.
And so tonight we are going to be giving away some coffee. And I asked people last week to comment on the videos and use the word coffee. So I went back to several videos and I picked people out of each video, and I don't know if any of them are on here tonight, but the people that did give answers with coffee, I'm going to name off about 5 right now, but it is Silver Run Coffee Crafters at silverruncoffee.com. I got to remember how they word their website. silverruncoffee.com. These are friends of ours that live about less than 10 miles from here.
Yeah, about 10 miles away.
That are grinding coffee. They're roasting
coffee.
Yeah.
And they roast it and grind it.
Okay, so it's BELUE, Blue Mountain Ridge, BELUE, Mountain Ridge. Audrey McNeil, 3087. City Girl Gone Country. Grace Echoes, 815. And Nola Girl Homestead. Now we'll name some more after a while, but those 5, if y'all will send me an email at deepsouthhomestead@gmail.com and tell me your address. The coffee, you'll have to go over to silverruncoffee.com, pick out the coffee you want and the way you want it ground. And we'll put that in the order when we order your coffee.
Okay, somebody was saying they live over here in George County, said they had some straight line winds come through and blow down a bunch of stuff, or okra and everything. Well, no, they need to just pull it out. Nope, your okra, you can stand okra back up. Just stand it back up and pack the dirt back down around it, or either it'll just turn and come back up. It'll do either one. So just kind of, I always stand mine back up. That's what I do. It's not going to hurt it. Oh.
All right, so what all have we got done? Oh, it's been a Farmall week and canning. I'm just going to say.
We have harvested a bunch of stuff.
I've been doing the canning. He's been harvesting. I've been canning. And then he goes into the Farmall. So Farmall's been his thing almost all week.
It's been so hot, and then it rains, and it's hot, and it rains. I can only work in the mornings, and I go out and work in the gardens in the mornings and try to get it mowing done, whatever I can get done in the mornings while I can, because by dinner time it's going to be so screaming hot you can't hardly breathe. And then all of a sudden the clouds come up, and when they come up you might as well just stop doing everything, you know. So I go to the shop, turn the fan on, listen to it rain, and work on the old Farmall tractor.
Bourbon bubble gum. Actually, it's a lemon. I saw online somebody was saying that the best lemon they had was, and it's fresh lemon. I took some that Chris gave us last year and I juiced it down and froze it. So I thawed out some lemon juice. They added sweetened condensed milk, and I use sweetened condensed milk from Azure Standard because I'd just gotten some. And then I added a little bit of almond milk to it and a little bit of ice cream to this, and then some ice. I added a few cubes of ice, blended it down, and it is a icy milkshake, but it's actually lemon. It's lemon, and it's good. So
Joyce Gray said, "Are blueberries done in Tennessee?" I don't know about Tennessee, but you can walk right out this door out here, and the trees they're still loaded. I mean, we have picked blueberries. People has come here and picked blueberries.
And we still have blueberries.
And there's blueberries. The deer just stand out there and just eat and eat and eat, and I don't say nothing anymore, you know. But Renata says, "Is it too late to plant okra?" No, it's not too late to plant okra. Okra will go all the way to a frost. There's lots of things about okra that people don't understand. The ground temperature has to be 75 degrees before okra will grow. Nighttime temps cannot drop below 60 degrees. 70 degrees. And in daytime, okra does best between 85 and 95 is the best temperatures for okra to grow in. It doesn't like a lot of nitrogen. but it does like, you know, a good well-balanced fertilizer. Now we use 8-24-24, and guys, you should see our okra.
It's beautiful.
It is just, it's phenomenal. We're picking every 2 days. We're picking about 2 gallons every 2 days.
At least.
Maybe
3 today.
Yeah, today was almost 3 gallons. Yeah.
Joyce Gray, send me your email. You're one of my coffee winners. I just saw you on here, so while you're still here, send me your email. You're one of the coffee winners tonight, and send me what you would like as far as coffee and the grind and your address. I was fixing to say something. Oh, I've been canning all week, so I've got a lot of canning done. I did can some okra. I put I sliced some and canned some, and then I put some up for boiled okra, and I did it in jars. It's something I have not done with boiled okra before, so we're going to be trying that.
Beverly Johnson said, have you heard anything about a peel being used on organic fruits and vegetables now? Yes, we actually talked about that here. Gosh, it's been what, 6 months ago or more longer?
Yeah. They can put a peel on some organic food, so you have to pay attention and ask questions.
The best way to find out is just ask the companies, because the companies has to tell you if they put a peel on there. Now they don't have to put it on the label, but they have to tell you if you ask them.
Okay, we were going to start at 8. We only started about 5. We've been going maybe less than 10 minutes.
Yeah, we've been about 10 minutes.
We started a touch early because so many people were saying, oh, look, I can't stay up all night. So it helps us to start at 8 right now.
Yeah, because it's still daylight.
It's going to be daylight when we get off at 9:30. It's still going to be daylight here. So, you know, it's easier for us to start at 8 now, and I know some of you it's real late, and I'm sorry about that on the East Coast, but
yeah, we'll be starting about this time until fall.
Yeah.
Now we have passed the summer solstice, so
we waited a while this year.
Yeah.
Usually we would have changed times like 2 months ago, but the way the things we were doing, we were just so tired by 7 o'clock. It's like, okay, we can still do 7.
Yeah, we can still do it. Yeah.
But right now, we've got a lot we can do now. So.
As a matter of fact, thank you, Tony Rayleigh. We appreciate that.
Thank you, Tony.
I just got off the lawnmower. It's raining outside. I said, you know what? You get wet when you take a bath. I went and got on the lawnmower and just started mowing. I mowed my whole big fruit orchard and all that, and got ready to. Had to change before I came in here because I was soaking wet, but Tony said that's for the pup. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Lucy, say hello. Say thank you. She's trying to take a nap and then she don't want to take a nap. What? Tell him thank you. Tell Tony thank you. I'm just put you down. I know. She says she don't care. She wants to be helped right now, and she knows that she's got us over a barrel. She said she doesn't do this at home except to Danny. Why won't a pressure canner come up to pressure? What kind of pressure canner do you have?
Usually if a pressure canner won't come up to pressure, you have a bad gasket under the lid.
Yeah, that could be if you have a regular pressure canner. You can get those gaskets just about any hardware or Amazon or Walmart.com or something like that.
We just go to our local hardware store and get them.
So check your gasket. And two, there's a little secret to the gaskets. I usually do it when I get a new one. And if you wash that gasket very much, I would do it after you wash it. Take just a touch of oil on your finger or a touch of olive oil would be best.
Yeah.
Run, just make a loop around it, and that helps seal it. For whatever reason, it keeps water from coming out and air from coming out.
It swells. It makes the gasket swell just a little.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, after you've used one for a little while, the gasket has to be replaced. We usually replace ours every year. That way.
I try to keep some gaskets on hand for mine, just because that should be one of your prep items.
Tam Workman says, can young apple trees be planted near established peach trees? We have them planted beside each other. I don't see, we've never had any problems. So I would think the only thing that you don't need to put around apple trees is like cedar trees and stuff like that. But I mean, or walnuts or anything like that.
Yeah, Lucy's grown. She's getting heavy. She's not going to be able to sit in laps very long. I don't usually let her sit in my lap much. Danny does occasionally, but she's going to be a big dog, really. I mean, she might be short, but she's going to be big. And so to climb up out 30, 40, 50 pounds is climbing in your lap's a little heavy.
Yeah. Debbie Walker says, questions, where did you find the dynamic fertilizer that is 82424? I can't find it anywhere. We just pick it up at our local feed store.
I think that is a southern thing that they make here in the South, dynamic.
Well, it comes from, it may come from Kentwood, Louisiana.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking it is. Dynamic, I think, is a, not local, but regional,
yeah,
brand, I would think. When Jim says, I asked a farmer when is the best time to plant an apple tree, and he said 12 years ago. That is true.
That is about right. That is about right.
Yes, we have been keeping up with what's going on in Texas.
Yes, we know all about. Matter of fact, I pretty much knew ahead of time it was coming. I've tried to tell people on the channel that they need to be very much aware of the atmospheric rivers. Y'all have heard me talk about the atmospheric rivers over and over and over again. Guys, it's not the end of it. It's going to happen in all over the United States. This is not anything new. This is going to continue to get worse.
And the thing is, most people do not pay any attention to weather. And then when they see something, then they kind of brush it off and do whatever, and not say anything against these people or anything, but they were all camping and having a good time. Somebody should have been paying attention to weather, and that is always a concern of mine. When we go somewhere, Danny and I are the ones that are saying, hey, look, there's going to be a storm, we're not going to get on the road this day, or something, and people look at us like we're a little crazy. So everywhere, these people need our prayers, because that was horrendous. I'm talking horrendous.
Well, when you get into certain, places that I was at in Texas out there, they have what they call dry river beds when I was out there. I was a young man. I didn't spend a lot of time in Texas. I spent more time in Mexico than I did Texas. But when I got into Texas, especially the southern part of Texas down there next to the Mexican border, they have what they call dry river beds. You could be sitting there and it could be a perfectly sunny day, and then all of a sudden the water would just come rushing down through them hills, and you'd have the water to be 10 feet deep coming across the place because it rained up in the mountains up north of there, and the water just come down through them valleys, and it would last for maybe 6 or 8 hours, and then it'd be gone. It'd be a dry riverbed again. And these are the kind of things, if you have, you need to know this stuff if you're going to be going camping in places. Now, I've camped all over Texas.
Well, now a lot of them said there was not any warning on the weather. And I think that comes back to your local stations, your weather stations, your internet, everything. People tend to say something after the fact instead of before the fact now.
Yeah.
And they want to be the first one to report on it after it happens, but they don't want to warn people ahead of time. And I think that is totally wrong.
I'm going to tell y'all may think I'm as wackadoodle as they come, and I don't really care because I know better. But all of this, believe it or not, has to do with the sun. There's things going on with the sun. We're in solar cycle 25. When we get to solar cycle 26, we're just beginning. It ain't even got bad yet. I don't know how to tell people. Like Wanda said a while ago, we don't do anything without we check the weather first.
I mean, that's whether we go to town, whether we go over to deep south.
We don't even go to town without checking the weather.
I mean, most people just jump in the car when they want to go to town and they head out. They don't even think to check. Nowadays, you need to check every time you go somewhere. Check the weather.
Yeah.
Make sure. It may be perfectly sunny where you're at, but where you're going, there could be a bridge out or washed out or something. You need to know these things. People ignore the weather right now, and that should be the one topic that everybody pays attention to.
I mean, somebody's talking about Weatherman Plus Mark. Mark is a friend of ours. Mark does a fantastic job. Mark is probably one of the top weather people. If you want somebody just to listen to on Weatherman Plus, Mark is probably one of the top people that I would recommend for someone to go listen to.
Ryan Hall actually warned about it the day before too. See, so you have some people, but not everybody knows Ryan Hall or Weatherman Plus.
Your average citizen is not watching people like Mark from Weatherman Plus.
No.
I don't know Ryan Hall, but I know of him.
Yeah.
Ryan Hall. There's actually another one. I can't think of his name. Reed Timmer and all them. Your average people that sits in and watches the boob tube all the time,
or either watches their
on their little phones running across here, they don't even know these people exist out there. So they have no clue. And that's why we don't watch TV. We don't do the stupid stuff. We strictly stick to to people we know is going to tell the truth. If you take Mark, for instance, Mark will tell you that there's going to be a hurricane 2 or 3 weeks before it ever even comes, before it's even formed.
And other channels will make fun of him and say he's spreading
fear-mongering.
But he's telling you ahead of time it's a possibility. He's not saying, oh yeah, there's going to be a 3 hurricane in 2 weeks. He's saying it's a good possibility. It could be up to, if you'll listen to the words.
Yeah.
People jump on his case. But I'm telling you, he gives you all the scenarios, and he updates at least once a day, or is it twice a day?
Mark, anytime, once a day,
unless it's severe.
Now he is a Sabbath worshiper. He doesn't upload on Shabbat unless he thinks that human life might be in danger. Then if he thinks it'll be in danger, then he will, we do a video on Shabbat.
Yeah. So that's just pay attention and warn your families and your friends, because you guys know to pay attention to the weather, but the average person does not.
I mean,
they just don't.
You take our family, for instance, mine and Wanda's family. They don't pay one bit of attention to what's going on with the weather, and it just drives us up the wall. They don't think about nothing. They just get in a vehicle and go.
And drive
right into the worst of the worst, and we're sitting there going like, "What? Y'all didn't know?" And they're like, "Well, no." I'm like, "You don't just get up and get in a vehicle and drive." Let me put it to you this way. I'm trying to think of the man's name. He's a preacher. Charles Stanley. Charles Stanley. When I was in my, I was in my 30s. I just went into the ministry. I was in my 30s. Charles Stanley preached a message talking about, do you ask God before you go to town, or do you just go to town? Do you ask God before you take a trip, or do you just say, hey, I'm going to take a trip on this day? Do you ask God? He said, do you know how many people die untimely deaths because they just simply don't ask God should they have went to town? Many people's involved in car accidents and all this kind of stuff, and they say, Lord, why? What, did you ask God before you went to town? Did you ask God, is it His will for me to go do this, or His will to do that? And most people will say, well, no, because I wanted to. You don't get to do what you want to because you want to. You do what you do because God says it's okay to. I mean, that's life.
I agree with Tim. Mark is a good predictor, and Ryan Hall is a good at the moment when it's happening. He lets you know.
Yeah.
Like Mark he doesn't do at the moment.
He used to.
He used to, but there's so many people doing it now. So Mark gives you day-to-day what is coming in the future.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for that type of information, Weatherman Plus is the best. When there's a tornado possibility, Ryan Hall and Reed Timmer are two that you can check, and they usually show the radars, and they try to give you at least 10 minutes ahead, saying that it looks like a tornado is headed toward this town, this town, this town. And they can't do every tornado there is, but they try to do as many as they can in a time period. So you have a variety there. So
yeah.
What else we got going on?
Oh, well, all the Jimmy Red's picked. We have no more Jimmy Red. It's all hanging in the, I said I wasn't going to do this again, but it's all hanging in the shop.
Because we were worried about the rain and...
Well, it rains every day. It was starting, the corn was growed out to the top of the shuck and water was getting down in it. Even though it was dry and broke over, the shucks are staying wet. And I said, you know what? I didn't plant but 4 rows. And I told Wanda, I said, I just got to go ahead and pick it, you know. And it's turned out pretty good. We got some mighty fine ears this year now. I'm telling you, that stuff made good.
Yeah.
Darlene Wright says, how are the butter beans?
Well, that tall.
About like that. Yeah.
They're coming up.
They're just starting to come up.
All right, let's see. They had flash flood warnings, but nobody thought it would be that bad. It came so fast. That is always with flash floods. I lived in a town when I was growing up that they've rerouted it now so it doesn't do what it did when I was little. But when they would say there were flash floods, they knew when the Mississippi River, it got rain up north, that it was coming down and Marion County was going to get hit. They knew that every time there was a lot of rain up north that Marion County was going to flood. And you had certain places in Marion County that always flooded. Even though there were houses there, they either got at least 6 inches to 2 feet of water in the houses. People would redo the houses and the next year it happened again. It's like every year. So one day when I was working, the first time I saw a lot of water, they told us we had to leave. No, I was in school. Yeah. That was the year I got married. I was finishing up school and they told us that there was a flash flood coming. And I said, look, I live out of town. I need to get out of town fast. So as I was leaving, the water was starting to come up in one area and my sister was working in a place there. And she had to stay and work, and her car went underwater, and they were safe in the building. It got some water in the building, but her car did flood. So it came up pretty fast, but it goes down pretty fast.
Yeah. Lord, all the things that went by. Sorry, guys. When we're talking, stuff just runs by us, and we don't get to answer all of it, you know. Let's see here.
I do not have any more cookbooks. I do hope to, if we ever get Deep South sold and we get on an even keel, to do a 3rd set of cookbooks, but it would be possibly next year.
Missy V. Butterfly Hill says, I started picking my Cherokee wax beans and got to them early. Seems they have already not putting on blooms. One picking and done. Some leaves are rusty yellow. One thing is because it's way late.
It's hot.
They should be in around March or April, not this time of the year. I mean, it's way too hot. They're a cool weather.
Unless she's further north than us.
Yeah, but still, as long as it ain't frosting, they need to go in the ground.
Yeah. Laura said she wrapped her pears in nylon bags, but some animals seems to
still be getting to them. Any helpful suggestions? The animals is getting to them. Probably a possum, because Wanda and I, one year at Deep South, we had some of the prettiest big old white peaches hanging on the trees, and I went out and wrapped them in nylon things. I told her, I says, that way, you know, nothing will get to them maybe. And a cotton picking old possum would come up there at night and he pulled every one of them off there and tore the nylon things off and still ate the peaches. So possums will do it.
What will
Aunt
we do?
B-Bond says, what can be done for brown rot in peaches? Brown rot in peaches usually comes from a couple of different things. One is there's no airflow in the tree. The middle of the tree is usually too thick and the air can't pass through it. And secondly, people let the fruit fall off on the ground and rot and go into the ground, and it just comes back every year. You have to get that stuff up off the ground and burn it, put it in a garbage bag, let them haul it off, whatever. You know, just do not leave it around the trees.
All right, Darlene says, any update on the pig that Chris is raising?
Yeah, he's actually got them. They're actually growing off too fast.
He's feeding them well, I think.
Because he told me, he said, we may have to butcher some of these pigs before it gets to be the time of the year that you want, you know. And then I told him, I said, well, we just gonna have to hang on and see. That's all I can tell you. Right now, I don't have nowhere to put one if we do it right now. Plus, it's too hot.
All right, Mr. Ray Ferguson said, Danny, did you make your own chicken feeders? I have bought several and the food is wasted. So what about chicken feeders?
You
did make some one time.
I made some one time. I don't know.
Thank you, Ripple Effect.
Yeah.
You made them out of
I made them out of 12-inch PVC pipe, and I used
come off a tire.
I used a Chevrolet.
I can't remember what it's called.
A Chevrolet hubcap.
Hubcap.
They don't make hubcaps anymore. That's the reason I'm having trouble.
I know. That's what I was trying to think of. He had an old hubcap he used.
Yeah.
Ripple Effect says, any recommendations on good silage trap? What's a silage trap?
I don't really have any good recommendations on it. I really don't.
All right. Let me see where we're at.
Vicky says, do you have any ideas on what you want to plant for your hot season?
Not a whole lot.
We don't usually do much gardening in the summertime. We don't usually plant anything for the hot season.
We planted the butter beans because they will take the heat. Danny planted the peanuts because they will take the heat.
Yeah.
We don't have to do anything to the peanuts till we have to harvest them, really.
Right.
The butter beans will need picking, and we'll do that really early morning. And since they're in pots, well, I do have some in the field, but some of them aren't doing that well. The okra goes, and it likes heat. So Danny will continue with the okra, and then he'll let some of it go to seed.
Yeah.
What else we got? The squash will wind up soon.
Squash are about knee deep in grass right now, but they keep making squash, you know.
We've still been eating squash.
We don't have much sweet potatoes and okra, peanuts, butter beans.
Cherokee tans are
still making. That's about it. We ain't doing too much more.
So with the chickens, if you overfeed chickens, yes, they will make a mess. Cut back on how much you feed them or whatever. We tried the feeders and filling like you said, that big 10-inch tube and putting a good bit of feed in there, and they do tend to waste it. So now we don't fill anything up. Danny feeds them only what he wants them to have every day.
Every day.
It is easier to fill one up, but here in the South, ours goes bad.
Ours molds if you fill it up.
All right, Renata said, where did you get your watering system
for the rabbits?
I think for the greenhouse is what she's talking about.
Oh, for the greenhouse? That's just something I made. I
Amazon.
bought parts off of Amazon and just basically just put it together, to be honest with you.
And Lucy's down here. Somebody asked where Lucy is.
She's on the floor down here. She's dreaming.
Dreaming right now.
Right now. She's chasing boogers in the dark or something.
Pam says, I live in Macomb. Is it too late to plant squash? You might get some, but...
You can plant squash anytime it's not frosting. Let me put it that way. You're just not going to do as well in the extreme heat. You know,
All right, let me name off the next few people that these are people that won the coffee, so you have to send me an email with your address, the type of coffee you want, and the grind. Chicken Coop 4439, Vicky B. .60, Connie Brown 5093, Aunt B-Bon.
Aunt B-Bon's on here. Aunt B-Bon,
yeah.
Send us your information. You want some coffee.
And Mama Lou 5316, and we'll name some more here in a little while. All right. And that is the Silver Run Coffee Crafters.
Okay.
We'll name a few more people in a little while.
All right. Let's see here. Oh, where are we at here?
I don't know.
Pam says I'm behind on planting my summer garden. Connie Brown says, "Oh wow, thank you so much."
You're welcome. And Aunt B-Bon says, "Thanks, I'm excited." We got several more to give coffee to, so don't leave. We've still got in a little while. We'll tell some more winners. Yeah, I'm hoping that we have spread the love with the coffee and not hit the same person over and over and over again. That was kind of my goal, was to have a lot of people try the coffee instead of sending the same people, having the same winners every week. I might have duplicated one or two along.
Prayer Warrior says, "What kind of water system do you use for your rabbits?" I don't have it. The water system I have for my rabbits is just a bowl that sticks inside the tin, and it's got you can take a Coca-Cola bottle or whatever and stick it down in there and just turn it. And it's got a nipple thing that goes on the end of it that goes down in there. It's a very simple system. I think we got it off Amazon, didn't we? Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sure we got it off Amazon.
All right, let me catch this one if I can before it gets too...
Okay, what are you looking for?
L. McKenzie says, "Hey y'all, I live in Austin and up the local Cureville News. The city manager said he was out jogging at 3:30 a.m. on the riverbank and learned later that the water rose 25 feet by 4 a.m. Yes, it was a fast...
It was a fast rising, yeah.
Nobody was expecting that much and that fast.
Jennifer wants to know, says, "Do you plant your peanuts in full sun?" We have some in full sun in the fields. We also have some in the high tunnels under 40% shade cloth. It's kind of a comparison to see which one does the best, the ones in full sun, or does it make a difference? You know, we're kind of checking to see.
Okay, Darlene says, "Do you like Lucy's personality as it's developing?" It's work in progress. She's getting to where she is very easygoing for the most part.
She's learned routines pretty quick.
She is very much a routine person, and she doesn't like not being in the routine. And I thought she had been around kids a lot, so I'm like, you're not going to like our quiet personality. I was thinking she's going to really not like the quietness that Danny and I have. But then I realized this week, between the tractor, the lawnmowers, fans, vacuum cleaners,
right,
all kinds of things. Every time I turn around, we're in the car, we're in the truck. Something's going on all the time. Danny and I make more noise than kids. I mean, we make a lot of noise.
Yeah,
so she doesn't like noises initially. She jumps and she backs off, but then once I take her around it, she's okay with it.
Yeah.
So, but she's working on our personalities, I guess. She knows that we will do what she wants pretty much eventually.
Okay, Pamela B says, "Does clover planted in between blueberries need to be mowed?" Not until it's completely matured and beginning to die back does it need to be mowed.
Okay, let's see. They really adopt well, Lucy does. She's getting to where she goes outside to potty. I don't think she's had a indoor potty thing in a couple of days.
Right.
She's learned that really quickly. She's learning to play on her own, which is really good, and Danny's playing with her and with her toys.
I was kind of teaching her how to play with her toys so that she doesn't have to feel lonely.
Showed her how to find a frog today. He showed her what a frog was, and she was going. She didn't kill it, but
she didn't kill it. But when
she
got it in her mouth, the frog peed in her mouth, and boy, she did not like that.
But she still played with it for a little while.
Howard Renee Robertson says, Danny, do you know what would cause green beans to stay extremely skinny? Plants were a bit yellow at first. New garden. It sounds like you have the wrong pH, and you didn't do a soil test on the ground to see what it was lacking in, because when something's usually skinny and yellow, it's usually a sign of low nitrogen in the soil, or your pH is really, really bad. Anytime you have anything new, if I put a new container garden out there and I got a big black pot, I test that pot to see if the pH is right and what I need in that pot before I ever plant anything.
Elmore, we didn't order the Dynamic 82424.
No.
We got it from our local feed store. So I'm not sure. I think Dynamic is a southern thing.
I'm not even sure what it is, to be honest with you.
I'd have to check. We'll try and show it in a video where it's made from. Tam KM says, I watch the weather. I'm downstream of the Guadalupe River. Praying it won't be bad.
Well,
everything goes downstream, so I would be watching.
I would be watching the weather if it was me. I sure would.
Jen Akers says, my tomatoes are whitish. Is that sun scale? Do I need to put up shade cloth? Or that she did put up shade cloths.
Yes, usually when your tomatoes turn whitish, the sun is literally baking them. That's
I had to put down a bamboo shade.
Yeah.
And mine are on the porch. But the way the sun was hitting them, it was just burning my leaves. So I put down the bamboo shade. And I've actually grown quite a few tomatoes on the back porch.
Wanda's tomatoes on the back porch get absolutely no sunshine.
Not no more.
They're underneath the roof. She has a shade cloth pulled down, a bamboo shade cloth pulled down in front of it. You can't even hardly see through it. Those tomatoes are making perfect red tomatoes all the time. Mm-hmm. The ones in the high tunnel out there, I had to just go pull them up. They just burn up.
And the ones that I left over at the Laromas,
yeah,
they've been green for what, 2 months?
Yeah. They don't even look like they're ever going to turn.
They don't act like they're turning. And mine are perfect round tomatoes, no blemishes. I mean, awesome. So what are they called? Self-watering planters from Vago work really well.
Yes.
We really like them.
You see, Debbie is very right. Debbie Walker says the Guadalupe River has been flooding for at least 55 years. There's no surprises.
Yeah, it can go from 0 to 11.
It's the same thing here. We have an RV camp. Well, as a matter of fact, we've got 2 of them not far from us here, right on the banks of the river or the creek. Mm-hmm. And I've seen that creek get over everything in there, and yet people will still pull them stupid RVs in there and park right next to that creek because they can't keep themselves out of the creek. They have to go down to the creek and they have to park their RVs there.
And if they would watch the weather, which they try to warn them if there's weather coming in, and they try to get them out before they flood. But I used to have a camp on a river, and they would let us know if the water was supposed to get up, because it usually rains at least 2 days before and the water's coming down river. So you should know at least 1 to 2 days ahead of time that water's coming down.
Right.
I mean, we always watched, and we made sure we didn't have our camper in that spot. And we actually went there one time and got in a boat and we had a house there for a while. Oh my goodness. Getting in a boat at night, floating through your streets was not a good thing. I did not like that.
Yeah. Murdoch, is that how? Yeah. Do y'all agree with the way Amish and Mennonite people can some or is not USDA approved, but that doesn't bother me because I'm new to canning only, do it for myself, no family. Look, there's as much information that is lost on canning as there are people to can. Just because the USDA says something, it doesn't make it the gospel. There's as much wrong in the USDA as there are in the FDA and all the other DAs there are out there. You know what I mean?
When it comes to canning, if you know somebody that is doing it, now I wouldn't take every video out there where somebody is telling you how to can and they're not Amish. They're just saying, I went and my aunt's Amish or my cousin. I would talk to someone who is Amish, who does this regularly, and I would take their word for it. If I talked to somebody that canned green beans in a water bath canner, and they told me they did it every year and they knew how, because my dad canned them in a water bath canner, but I don't remember the specifics. I would have to talk to someone who knew. That's how come when I did the okra, it is not water bath canned and it is not pressure canned. I talked to Mr. Charles, old Alabama gardener, in person, well, on the phone. He and I stayed on the phone. He walked me through the process. I wrote everything down because he knew how from his mom and stuff. That's how he learned. His mom taught him how. And so if you know somebody to talk to when it comes to canning, talk to them before and make sure somebody's been doing it for a while. That would be my answer on it.
Meditech 131 says, Danny, why do my figs dry up and fall off the tree just before ripening? Usually when you see stuff like this happening is the tree goes through extreme changes. Usually under a fig tree you need at least 4 to 6 inches of mulch underneath a fig tree, all the way the radius of the leaves on the tree and the limbs, because fig trees' roots are right on top of the ground. If it's wet, they're doing great. If it's not too wet, and if it gets to be extremely dry, then they suffer and the tree can shed all of its figs. So I mean, the mulch kind of helps maintain the moisture and keep down weeds and stuff like that. Plus it's healthy for the tree.
Okay, let me name some more people off, because MedTech 131, you are one of our coffee winners. Send me an email. For him, live 2. The number 4, live, the number 4, him, live 2. That's it. Nana Linda, Birch Pine, Cindy Farmer, Peggy Allen, and Raven Wolf 3039.
Now, my former wife that passed away, her sister used to can in a water bath canner. She canned everything in a water bath canner. Mm-hmm. And she used, like green beans, she put just a certain amount of vinegar in them green beans, and she would can them for 2 hours. I can still remember it. And her stuff never went bad at all. So, I mean, there is ways out there to do it.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's people that you can trust, and there's people that if you see some of their videos and you have questions, hunt somebody else. Back it up. Don't just take one person's word for something.
Right.
So pretty much that's what I did. I wouldn't can meat. You can ask Danny. There was
years
I
wouldn't even
Wanda touch
would not
meat.
do the meat. She was just.
I was like, no, I don't believe it's safe. And then all of a sudden, I don't know why, I just got to thinking about it, and I said, you buy cans of chicken and stuff, all the time. And I said, why can't I can meat? So I decided to try. I think the first thing I tried was ground beef.
Yeah.
And even though I like my ground beef fresh, I liked the canned ground beef. So I got to doing that, and then I decided to branch into chicken and turkey and pork, and so I've done a little bit of everything with meat, but I was so scared of canning meat to start with. But it has to go 75 minutes for pints and 90 minutes for quarts. You have to do that time. Don't cut your time when you're canning meat.
Where are we at here? James Baker says, have you heard what they're doing to the water in Connecticut starting Monday? Actually, I have not.
Tim says he went outside and looked at a bag of dynamic fertilizer. It is Kentwood Co-op in Kentwood, Louisiana.
I thought it was probably Kentwood.
Yeah, so I knew that had to be a local, regional.
It's in Louisiana, but
it's in another country.
Well, it's in a foreign country. But here we are, over here in Mississippi, and we still get it.
Yeah, and we don't have to pay a tariff.
No, we don't have to pay a tariff to get across the border. And the Pearl River is the border.
Yeah, no, we're going to get in trouble with our Louisiana people.
We are. Sorry about that, guys.
We got a lot of them.
Yeah. Actually, Monkey Food Garden.
Yep.
I'm over there.
Well, Chris is there. Tim and Heidi are in Mississippi, but they go into Louisiana quite a bit because they're right there at the borderline.
Let's see here.
Murdoch says, we have a Mennonite community in Covington County. They're giving me advice. I'm really wanting to dry can. I have not tried the dry canning yet. Everybody says it's fabulous, but I just have not taken the time to read up and reassure myself that that's what I want to do.
Actually, to be honest with you, pressure canned ground beef tastes just like taco meat.
It tastes like Taco Bell meat to me.
It does. It tastes like Taco Bell meat. And the beef, if you can beef cubes, it just tastes better than it does if you cook it the other way.
Danny likes the cubes like I do mashed potatoes and make gravy and put those beef cubes in it. He loves that. That's one of his favorite things.
Okay, people are saying they're spraying Dicot chemical in the creeks up there. Why would you spray Dicot in the creeks?
In North Carolina?
No, up in Connecticut.
Connecticut. What?
Those pristine waters up there.
Danny said it's beautiful up there.
I fished all up and down the Housatonic River, and all the places up in there. Why would you do that? Dicot is a deadly chemical. That blows my mind.
I have tried the water glass egg preservation, and I messed it up myself, so I didn't try it again. There was 2 ways of doing stuff, and I did one part of it wrong, and mine all ruined, so I haven't tried the water glass. I put mine in the fridge. We have enough eggs that I could eat daily right now.
James Baker says to kill the hydrilla.
The what?
The hydrilla. It's like
weed?
It's like a... Oh, man, I can't believe they're doing that.
It's an invasive weed, yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh, my word. Put carp in the river. Carp will eat the weeds. Oh, my goodness.
All right, they're saying something about ball jars are cracking. They have stress cracks in them. Somebody bought some. I don't know. I've not bought any new ones. You'd have to worry nowadays because they're making everything thinner, and to live up to the pressure of canning over and over and over and over and over, because you don't want to buy jars every year unless you're just adding to your stash. You want to use the jars you bought last year again this year, and so
it just blows my mind.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, the Bible tells us that in the last days that people will die from drinking the water.
Mm-hmm.
So the water will be poisonous. So I guess, the Bible's just coming to fruition there.
Yeah. Yeah, Azure Standard sells jars. So y'all check out the Azure Standard jars if you're buying Azure Standard. Back in the day, I used to use mayonnaise jars. I would hit everybody up for a mayonnaise jar. Now, I didn't pressure can in them very often. I water bathed in the mayonnaise jars. But I did have the bottoms come out of some. Not very often, but say after you've used them once or twice, mayonnaise jars would separate. The whole bottom would just slide out and all your stuff would come out in the canner. 4 jars lids usually work really well. I've been using some this week. I told Danny every one of them sealed until day before yesterday.
Yeah.
I did 4 jars of dill pickles, and I put them in the water bath canner for about 12 to 15 minutes. It said 10 minutes, but I always go a couple of 3 minutes over. And I did 4 jars, and 3 of them did not seal, and it was 4 jar lids. So I was really disappointed in that, but all the pressure canning with 4 jars for the last couple of days have sealed.
Okay, Carolyn Moore Smith says, Danny, are your black tub planters in partial shade? Yes. They don't get but about maybe 3 hours of sunshine a day, maybe 3
Not
or 4.
a lot.
Roland Tom Kelman says, Danny, did your Cub have hydraulics when you purchased it? I had an A and a B. Both had levers to lift the cultivators. Yes, it has hydraulics, and I just rebuilt the touch control system on it. I have a video coming out next week.
Yeah.
On rebuilding the touch control system on the tractor.
Jen USA said she just followed my peach cannon and has a lot of peaches going. Do you use the pH test strips in your pots? No. What is that? You have a pH test meter?
I have a pH meter.
Yes.
Yeah, it reads a meter. Murdoch's right. Spraying dicot in rivers about as sane as the Mississippi Department of Wildlife Fisheries did with chronic wasting disease in the Delta. They went out and killed over 1,000 deer just for testing.
Yep. Well, it's the same thing as when they brought Kogon grass over here.
Yeah.
And now we have Kogon everywhere, and you can't get rid of it. It is taking over.
It is. It's so invasive. I don't even know.
They brought it over here for why?
It was packaging material.
But I mean, they thought that cows would eat it.
They thought cows would eat it when they first brought it over here, but the cows will eat it when it's young and about yay big. But once it gets over about 4 inches tall, it gets razory sharps on the edges of it and everything, and they won't nothing eat it.
Yeah. Let's see.
Let's see here.
I'm trying to read and it's popping. Superb lids gave me the most fails. I did not like the Superb lids. I demoed those for them. I have not tried them in the last 3-4 years, but when they were first working with the Superb lids, I tried them. I did not put a video up till way later because I didn't want to influence people on the Superb lids, but I had 3 jars. The jars didn't explode. Where you put the lid on and then put the ring, the ring was still on the jar, but the lid popped out from under the ring and all my food came out. And the ring was still on the jar and the jar was still intact. And I had 3 out of 5 or 6 in the canner do that. I was very disappointed. So I did not try the Superb at all after that. I mean, I have a stash of them they gave me, but I haven't used them.
Yeah. There's some questions went by and I can't remember what they was, but somebody asked, do we eat maypops or do we like maypops? Actually, I found some growing in the pasture out here today.
Did you?
Yep, just coming up out there.
I ate them as a child.
Now, let me put it to you this way. My cows has eat all around the vines and have not eat the vines.
Isn't that weird?
If a cow won't eat a vine, there's something wrong.
Yeah. When I was little, we would let the maypops the seeds get mushy, kind of, and we would eat those when we were little, but mainly we played with them. My granny showed us how to make dolls out of them, and we would take straws out of the broom. That was back when the brooms had straws in them.
Back when they were real straw brooms.
They wasn't plastic,
Yeah.
And you would stick them in there, and they would make them arms and legs, and we made our own dolls with them and played.
Old Dominion Homestead says, is it true that figs and its stems and leaves contain latex?
Yes.
It contains a form of latex. Yes, that is true.
Yes.
Okay, where we at here?
Yeah, I'm not against Superb. They may have fixed the issue. I talked to the owner himself, and the first guy I talked to said they had never had that problem happen, and then the owner himself said he had had it happen a couple of times. So they may have fixed that problem, but I think they had the rubber too thick or something, or either something happened because that lid literally came out from under the ring. I don't know how, it's not even possible in my brain, but it happened. Because I heard it explode in my canner. That's what shook me up. I shut the fire off and waited and went and got Danny and says, hey, look, something exploded in my canner. You need to come in right now. And I videoed it and sent it to the company.
Okay, Lisa Ress says, how many months should a calf be before weaning them? We wean ours at around 5 months, and we take them off the mama around 5 months. Or we send them at 6 months. We just go ahead and send ours on to the slaughterhouse, because that way to us they're still young enough that they're not productive as far as their male parts are concerned, and we don't have to worry about castrating them and all that kind of stuff. So we do go ahead and butcher ours very young.
Yeah.
When you can chunked beef, do you add seasoning with it? No, you can, but we don't.
I don't add anything because I don't ever know what I want to use it in. So, but you can add you definitely add salt, but you can add onions, or you could add some kind of seasoning if you know what you're specifically going to be using it for, or you always use your beef that way, that's fine. I just add salt.
Yeah, that way you can use it for anything.
Yes.
You don't have to just use it for one particular thing.
I'm trying to see.
How do you integrate new chicks into an existing flock of adult birds? Medic says that is very difficult. Now you can put them. You can put a side by side, put a wire thing between them in a pen so they're close to each other all the time. But even at that, and some people says do it at night, but hens and chickens just have pecking orders. There's going to be fights until they figure them pecking orders out.
Yeah.
That's just the name of the game with any animals, basically.
We are expecting 2 calves, and I will be doing a video. Somebody asked me about videoing the cows again. Candy and Shushan are just holding off. We thought they would be born in June. Danny looked at his calendar.
I looked at my calendar. When I saw Duke with them, I marked it down, but evidently
should have been June, but obviously we're into July.
We're in July.
Candy's just waddling.
Candy looks like she's plumb miserable. Her bag looks like she ought to be in a dairy somewhere, She's
been that way over 3 days, 4 days, something like that. And Shushan's pin bones are showing. So we know both of them are like really close. And after lunch, I asked Danny, I said, have you checked the cows? He said they were both okay a couple of hours ago.
Yeah.
I said, but that rain came. And I said, well, they may have had the baby, but we saw them after the rain.
After the rain. I saw them after the rain.
So any day we'll have a video on the cows.
I'm looking, they're both swelled up really big. They're both dilated and everything. I'm sitting here like,
probably tomorrow morning.
What are y'all waiting on?
Raven Wolf, I do not dehydrate anything. I do not like dehydrated anything. We don't like
dehydrated nothing.
I lost a lot of food that I had a very nice $high dehydrator, and I dehydrated a lot of food a few years ago, and within a year I was throwing it out. In our moisture, our humidity, stuff doesn't last dehydrated. And now freeze dried I do like. But I also packed my freeze-dried stuff in Mylar with what are those? Oxygen absorbers. We did with that, and I still lost some freeze-dried food before I learned out how to do it. So I don't like anything dehydrated, just saying. Do you know how to rid a millipede infestation in large containers?
Not really. I mean, when I lived in central Mississippi several years ago, we had a millipede infestation up there, and actually had to go talk to a pest control guy and get a particular spray, and I don't remember what it was. There was thousands of them coming up on the carports and climbing up the walls. They'd get in the house. We had to just literally spray the whole carport and everything to kill it. And I don't remember what you know.
Yeah, I feel like the next high pressure system, or either the
next full moon or the next high pressure or whatever.
Something will cause it, but both of them probably will have babies within a day of each other, we figure.
Somebody wants to know what's the best cut of beef we found to can. We can our cube steaks. What do you call it? Stew meat.
Stew meat.
Cut up in little cubes. When you get it from the slaughterhouse, it's cut up in little cubes about inch by inch, and that's what we can.
Yeah. I've also taken, Danny's taken a roast before. Yeah. And we've cut it up into pieces. So a roast will work. I mean, if you want to cut a roast, but I would rather keep my roast for putting in a crock pot. But we usually do stew meat. 99% of the time it's stew meat.
Yeah. Do you can or freeze your yellow wax beans? We can them. Freezing them and then recooking them is like eating a rubber fishing worm. It is no good.
Now, I have saved them in the freezer and canned a bunch at one time, but after you can them, you don't notice the rubbery.
Right.
But when you just put them in the freezer and take them back out, to me, they just don't taste good. I don't like freezer green beans.
JN, no more numbers, says, I never can chicken wings again. The biggest mess, broken bones and all. Yep. When you can chicken wings, you can actually eat the bones because they just become soft and
you can't tell where the bone is. You
can't tell where the bone is and where the meat is. They just all become the same.
I did that because a lot of people were getting on to me because I didn't save my chicken wings.
Right.
And I love fried chicken wings. I would eat fried chicken wings all day long. It's always been my favorite piece of meat. But I don't fry a whole lot anymore. So when we were doing our meat birds and everything, I just had Danny just sit them to the side, and I threw them in a pot, and I boiled everything down and took the meat off of them, and I put the meat in jars and broth in jars.
Yeah.
It didn't matter that it was a chicken wing because I took the meat off of it. But I did try canning some one time, and oh man.
I mean, I ate them, but boy, they was good.
Yeah.
But
it's the best meat there is.
Yeah. Somebody made a comment I have to sit back here and remember as we were talking. Someone made a comment, said, I planted in corn. I put the ammonium sulfate when it was 8 inches high. I put the ammonium sulfate when it was knee high. What do I do next? Texas chopper. I have a photographic memory usually, and I have to go back and process it through my mind. When you lay it by, which is when it's knee high, I lay mine by. I usually put the ammonium sulfate then, and I might put some triple 13 mixed in with it then, and I fertilize the heck out of it. Mm-hmm. And usually that's the last thing I do because I lay it by and there's nothing else. It's too tall to do anything else with it after that, so I just leave it. And usually it does pretty good.
All right.
You read the rest of your coffee things before it gets too late?
Yeah. Did I get my lemongrass moved? I have some that I've got in a thing of water that's going to ruin because it probably got rained in today.
Probably did.
I got a whole bunch of starts. I just don't know where in the yard I want to put the lemongrass. And so the one that's in the big pot is still in the big pot. We hadn't decided where to move it yet. I'm just going to have to plant it somewhere and dig it up and remove it when we just finish laying the yard out, I guess. All right, did somebody say something you need to?
No, just got waiting on you.
All right, Dean, and then it's got a dash LSE. Dean dash LSE. Amanda Holly, 2813. Mel Ladner, MELLADNER. Mel Ladner, 8133. And Nancy Hughes. All of you guys are coffee winners. So let me know with an email at deepsouthhomestead@gmail.com and check out silverruncoffee.com and find out what kind of coffee you want and the grind you want, what you know, how you make your coffee.
Oh, there's Mel Ladner. He says, thank you right off the bat. Or she, whoever it is. I don't know if it says he or she, but
Wanda, you can freeze veggies a little at a time until there's enough for a canner load. Do you blanch them first? Yes, I do. When I take my yellow wax beans out, or if I take out, like I had some peas that Rebecca from Silver Run Coffee Crafters gave me, I put them in the freezer, and I don't do anything to them. I don't have, I wash them, but I try to dry them pretty much so they're not coated in ice when I take them out. So when I take them out, I put them in hot boiling water for a couple of minutes, and then I pack them in jars, and I put boiling water in with my salt in it, and then I can them according to the ball book.
Right.
So yes, you can put most anything in the freezer until you have enough, but always blanch it. Get it to room temperature. Don't put frozen food in a hot jar and put it in a canner.
That's correct.
That is a no-no.
Yeah, that's correct.
Always get your food hot before you put it in a jar. Some way, shape, or form. Just saying that ahead of time. Somebody's going to get me.
Okay. It's fixing to be time for us to jump off of here, so we need to,
we have a lot of prayer requests.
I need the first page on that.
Let me see. My daughter Amy, I forgot to mention it last week, but she broke a toe on the foot that she didn't break a toe on last year.
That girl keeps breaking her feet.
I don't think she's going to have surgery. She actually splintered it, I think is what they said. So, but then she sent me a message yesterday. Her husband, Brian, is going to have knee surgery coming up. So, we want to remember them. My daughter-in-law, Patty, she's going to have a baby in September. So we want to remember her and pray for good health for both of them.
Yep.
Another
Sitting there trying to think, there was somebody who sent a thing today, said
yes, and I'm
drawing a blank.
Let me think.
Jim, was it?
No, hold on. Man asked for prayer for his wife, didn't he? Hold on.
I was sitting in the chair and you just hollered out across the room and told me.
Gordon. Joseph Gordy, Gordy, asked for prayer for his wife.
Yeah.
All the people in Texas, and this, I think there's a storm going East Coast.
Yeah,
so you
guys on the East Coast up in the Carolinas, y'all be prepared, because I'm not saying anything's going to come in there on you, but it definitely could.
You could have some weather, so just be watching.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Danny does, somebody asked earlier, Danny does have a birthday coming up. His birthday is July the 24th. Our anniversary is July the 19th. Did I get that right?
You got it right this time.
I'm always the one that gets
She's
it
always
wrong.
the one that gets it wrong.
I see a lot of people.
Catherine says on the praise report, my nephew was released from the hospital recently. Amen.
I have not heard from Miss Starla in a week or so. So I'm not sure.
Don't know.
She was supposed to send me some things, some information, and she said she'd get back with me, and I have not heard from her, so she could be not doing well again. What's
Let's
the
see.
brand of slips in work boots you wear? What's the brand of slip-in work boots you wear? These things.
They're called Rancher.
Do you know?
Actually, no.
You had to slip it off and see what the brand name is. Yeah, they're wore out, dirty.
This rope right here is where it's supposed to be at.
Georgia boot.
Georgia boot.
Is that it? They don't say it. It just calls them a Wellington.
This is a Georgia boot, but these are the Ranchers. I'm pretty sure it's the Ranchers.
I don't know.
It is probably one of them. Oh,
They're wore out.
they're wore out. Here we go, right here.
He can wear some shoes out in a hurry.
This, I usually get about a year out of these. Actually, a subscriber sent these to me.
I thought Jennifer did.
No, the ones Jennifer sent me was too tight on my feet. A subscriber actually
That's
sent
right.
these.
That's right.
These here have a, I can't read it. They got a different kind of sole pattern on the bottom of them. They don't slip real easy. I mean, they hold on good. They're oil resistant. Just a good all around work boot. And believe me, every morning these boots get soaking wet. I literally wade through deep grass. As a matter of fact, Wanda's done got me now to wearing my muck boots when I go out in the field. Now she said, "Would you please wear your muck boots instead of running your other shoes?" I was like, "Well."
How do you like the socks, the chamomile?
The Chamomils, I love them, but I'm gonna just be honest with you. I mean, they're a great sock, probably one of the best socks I've ever wore, but I can't afford to pay what they want for a pair of them.
Yeah,
You know?
even on sale, I was freaking out. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, they're a little.
I was gonna order him a whole bunch of them, and I said, I don't think so. They may be good. We're not used to paying that.
I'm not
kind of
used to
prices
paying
for
that kind of
socks.
prices for stuff. I mean, I'm still old school about everything. You know, I mean, these boots right here are $135 a pair.
And they were
And-
that back 20 years
And
ago.
they were that same price 20 years ago, and I'm about freaking out at that. You know, I mean, I just don't like,
Socks should be,
socks should be around $4 or $5 a pair.
yeah.
You know? Because
20 to 25 is a little much for me.
I can't pay $25 for a pair of socks. I just can't do
Yeah.
it. You know,
Even if they do last, that's just.
Wanda was going to order me a pack of the chamomils, and it was like $250. I'm like, what? I said, for socks? And she said, yeah. I said,
I'm like-
no.
I'm like, nah.
No. I said,
I love them, or he loves them, but I was like, and I might one day break down and buy some, but
and I get they last for years. You know, I do get
they're
that.
supposed to.
They're supposed to, but I can buy a lot of pairs of the other socks for, you know, for that. I don't know. I can't. The Walmart socks.
There's Chris, because we didn't start till 8, Chris. We kind of backing it up, being late.
What are y'all doing up this
I have
way?
socks that are 30, but I've had them for 10 years. That's Mark. You paid $30 a pair for them?
Yeah.
See, we're not used to that.
I'm not used to that. People go and buy tennis shoes and stuff like that, pay $100-something for a pair of tennis shoes.
$40 is my. I have to be hard up to pay $40.
We cut it off
for
at
tennis shoes.
$40 on tennis shoes, and that's like Wanda said. We got to be really hard up, you know.
If I can't find some for $19.99 or $24.99.
No, I'm
because
just not.
I go through shoes so fast and stuff till I don't want to pay $100 for a pair of tennis shoes, and in 4 months I've ruined them. I can't do that. So I buy cheap and ruin them ever so often.
You know, I can't do it, you know.
They say, Mark says that merino wool is really tough. I like it. Danny liked them. He said they
I love them. Don't get me wrong. They wear good. My feet don't get sweaty in them and all that kind of stuff. I mean, they're just good socks, but
they said $24 a pair. Yeah.
It's an upfront price for me that I'm just not used to paying. I'm old school, and I just.
All right, Chris. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, Chris. And like a pair of shoes, if I get a year out of a pair of shoes,
and it don't matter what he pays.
I don't care what I pay. If I pay $25 or if I pay $150, I've paid as much as $200 thinking I'm gonna get a better boot, and they last 1 year.
Yeah.
You know, I've actually wore the what was them kind they sent me, and I bought a bunch more of them. Cujo. Cujo.
Yeah.
The Cujo shoes. I still have 2 or 3 pairs of them brand new, and I get about a year out of a Cujo. I mean, they just.
Mm-hmm. And I have a couple of pair of them. They do wear pretty good, and they do good outside because the Cujo is made for wet and muddy conditions, and they do last longer. I don't remember prices on them. It's been a couple of 3 years. I haven't even checked into them lately.
I don't know, guys. I'm old school in some things. That's like a vehicle. Everybody talks about now paying $50,000 for a vehicle. There is no way under the sun I'm going to pay $50,000 for a vehicle. Because when I first got married, my first house cost me $25,000 brand spanking new. And when I retired, or right before I retired out of the construction companies that I owned, I bought 2 trucks, quad cab, 4-wheel drive Ford trucks. I paid $44,000 a piece for those trucks. And about 6 months after I bought them, I had a come to Jesus meeting with myself. And I said, Danny, if you just spent $88,000 for 2 trucks, you could have bought 40 acres of land for $88,000 in. And I'm like, the land would be here forever. These trucks are going to be gone in no time. I turned around and sold one of them. And to this day, I'm still driving the other one. Because I just refuse to get rid of it, you know?
He's like, I paid $40,000. I'm going to get my money.
I said, $44,000 is a lot of money to me.
It was 2006, so it's fixing to be.
It's a 2006 model truck.
It's going to be 20 years old.
Yep. Now I paid $43,000 for a tractor. That tractor, if I take care of it, will last me till I die. And tractors last a lifetime. I got a Cub Farmall sitting under my shop out there right now. Actually, I got 2 of them that are worth more money. I have more money in them 2 tractors right now than they cost brand new.
When they were new.
When they were new.
Because they're 75 years old.
They're when they were brand new, I think you could buy one for like $600.
You paid $1,000.
I paid $1,000 for this one in crap condition, you know. And I just spent another $2,000 in parts for it.
Pretty close.
You know. And I got another one sitting out there. It's got about $10,000 worth of stuff in it. You know what I mean? That tractor's worth more than almost a brand new one is.
He won't pay for good socks, but he'll pay for good tractor parts.
I'll pay for tractor parts, especially old tractors. Old tractors will last. You know?
I don't know. We
Anyway,
have our priorities, don't we? Tractors versus socks.
Yeah.
Tractors all the way.
Tractors all the way, you know.
But we do want to remember all the people that have asked for prayer.
We do.
We do want to remember our country, and we want to remember the people in Texas. Then we want to remember the people that are they mentioned China. China had some very heavy flooding. If y'all did not see it,
China.
Hardly anybody talks about it, but I did see some videos. It was probably way worse than what happened in Texas. China has these high rises, and water was way up on the high rises and stuff. I mean, it was horrible. And then you have problems in California. You know, they have, is it earthquakes they've been having? What is it?
There's so much stuff
there's so much going on everywhere.
There's volcanoes erupting, there's earthquakes, there's all kinds of stuff happening. It ain't got bad yet.
Yeah. So, y'all just keep your eyes open.
Okay. We need to pray, guys, before we can help everybody get off here. We don't went way too long. Father, we're so blessed tonight to have the breath of life granted to us this day. And Lord, I thank you for giving us a good chat tonight. Good people, Lord. People is full of need here tonight, Father. People are needy tonight. They have many needs. They have many prayer requests that they've actually put up. And Lord, they need you, Father. People need you. They need the Lord. And Father, they're crying out, asking for prayer. And in the scriptures, you said when people pray, it's like a sweet, savory smoke coming up through your nostrils. And Father, it's pleasing to you. And it's even more pleasing to you when people come back and they talk about how the prayers have been answered and stuff. And they give a praise report, and you're even more happy about that, Father. So, and people have done that tonight. So I'm asking tonight, Lord, for the people who put up their requests, no matter what they are, whether they have cancer, just have a sick spouse like Mr. Ferguson with lupus, and Father, people who have family members that they're concerned about their life, their souls, having all kinds of physical issues with their livers and different other problems going on in their lives, Lord. Some people have financial issues, mental issues, people having trouble with dementia and all kinds of other things going on in their lives, Lord. Eyesight problems, different things. Father, I'm asking you tonight to be the great physician that you are, and to reach down and touch each and every one of the ones that's made these requests tonight, Lord, and heal their bodies, Father. Heal them before they have to leave this earth and go to their everlasting healing on the other side. Father, give them some joy and some healing back on this side. You promised us, you said you came that we might have life and that we might have it more abundantly. And Father, grant that to the people. And then, Lord, if it's one of them situations, if it's a sickness unto death, then Father, I pray that you give the ones grace that needs grace to make it through the things that they're going to make it through. And then, Lord, the things that's going on with the earth right now, with this Guadalupe River flooding, the atmospheric rivers that's going on, and things going on with the sun, things that's going on with creation, Lord. You told us in the latter days of an age that creation would cry out in pain, and Lord, that's what we see happening. So the ones that's lost their lives, or they can't find them, or maybe they're still alive, just ain't been found yet. All these people, Lord, the children that perished, and the mothers and the fathers in these floods, not only in Texas, but there's places in other parts of the world that's suffering from other types of devastation also. We're praying for each and every one of them, Lord. Most of all tonight, look down upon us and forgive us for we've sinned against you and the kingdom of heaven, Father. We ask this in Christ's name. Amen. Okay. Oh, my goodness. Let's see here.
Yeah, we'll go get sleepy. I'm reading several.
I'm sitting here still reading comments, what I can read. Oh, man. I feel as full as a tick. Before I came in here, Miss Wanda was sitting in here. She had everything ready to go. I was sitting right out there under the blueberry trees, just raking off blueberries, just sitting there eating them, just one right after another. And I sit there and I said, you know what? I got to go in, but I don't want to. These blueberries sure are good, you know. So I'm sitting here now. I feel like I'm full as a tick. you know. But anyway, everybody's, I'm pretty sure, is going to want a tip for tonight. And guys, you know, what happened out there in Texas is a prime example of what I've been trying to tell people. The tip for tonight is to be prepared for the unexpected, because we have not reached the apex of what is going to happen here. And the Carolinas, y'all might as well get ready. Y'all are fixing to have some things happen in the Carolinas throughout the summer months that you just need to be prepared. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, just get yourself in order. And believe it or not, you're going to probably see a cool down in the central part of the United States, in the eastern part of the United States, and all the way down almost to us. You're going to have fall-like weather here before long. And the West Coast, bless their hearts out there, the West Coast is just going to burn slam up. I mean, you're going to have temperatures way over 100 degrees. And guys, the weather patterns are getting crazier and crazier. And somebody sent me a thing the other day, says, Danny, have you noticed that the sun is white? And I told him, I said, yes, I've noticed that it's white, but would it shock you if I told you it was going to turn blue? And you got to understand, the sun used to be orange, then it's going to be white, and then it's going to turn blue. Those are the colors of something that keeps getting hotter and hotter. See, a white color is hotter than an orange color. And those who know anything about the colors of flames. And then a blue flame, or a blue-looking sun, is actually hotter than a white sun. So we have not reached the apex of the heat from the sun just yet. And I'm actually praying that and the poles of the sun has flipped. Not the sun itself hasn't flipped. The magnetic poles have flipped.
They've also somebody mentioned it in here. I saw it the other day. They have now said that there is something headed this way between the Earth and Mars, or coming around past the sun.
Yeah, we've known about that.
Well, they're finally saying something now.
They're finally saying
that there's something coming through.
Yeah.
So, you know, they don't want to talk about stuff till it happens, or it's happening like right now, and you don't have time to do anything about it.
Right.
So be prepared for whatever they're not telling you.
They're not going to tell you the 100% truth. They're going to, because if they put it to you this way, if the government told the truth right now, most people would freak out. And that's the last thing they want, is to have a population of people that's freaking out. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm telling you to expect the unexpected, because they have actually they've tried to keep some things hid for so long that they're actually fixing to have to tell you things. Mm-hmm. Because they can't hide it anymore.
And the deal is, the way they do it, it is not on your major news programs. You'll never hear it on the NBC News or nightly news or whatever else they do. When you have like a cell phone, and let me see if I can find where it shows it. When you pull it over, let me show you. And you run these right here, these little news program things, and start reading, there's no telling what you'll find. And it'll tell you all kinds of stuff. And that's where you're going to find news. That's where I found where they were talking about like a comet. They called it different things. Asteroid, comet, something else. They had different names, and they just kept saying things like
Yeah.
that in the news articles. But when you run those odd articles like that, I found several things that Danny's been talking about for the last 3 or 4 years, and other people have been talking about in those news articles. You'll find it, but nobody's talking about it. You don't ever hear it, and then you'll hear an odd YouTuber every now and then that picks up stuff. They've got to picking up some of this stuff and throwing it out there, but you don't hear the news saying it usually.
Yeah, Barbara S. says, how do you prepare for what you don't know what is coming? Barbara, that's the whole key to what I'm trying to tell everybody. You can prepare for everything that you think is going to happen, and you will still miss it.
Mm-hmm.
Because what is actually going to happen is in the Bible. And the news is not going to tell you what the Bible says. You're going to have to go over to the Bible, and when it tells you that a third of the ships in the ocean are going to be destroyed,
Mm-hmm.
it tells you that at one point in history, in the latter days, a third of mankind is going to die. And then shortly after that, another third of the population of the earth is going to die.
That's a lot of people.
And then it tells you that there's going to be an asteroid that's going to hit the earth called wormwood.
Mm-hmm.
It tells you that the water is going to be poisoned, and the people who drink it's going to die. And then it tells you that 100-pound blocks of ice are going to fall from the sky. I mean, the Bible tells you all this kind of stuff, and people choose not to listen to the Word of God. And the one thing that gets me, and I have heard this till it makes me sick. Well, we're not going to be here. We're going to all be gone when this happens. There ain't nowhere in the Bible you can show me that that's true. Because nowhere in the Scripture has God permitted any one of His people to escape what happens without going through the fire. I mean, the 3 Hebrew children went through the fire. Daniel went through the lion's den. I mean, Noah went through the flood. I mean, I don't care what happened. David had to fight the Goliath. Joseph went through the famine. I mean, God never pulled His people out. There's only one man mentioned in Scripture that God took him, and that was Enoch. And he is the only one who I know of that has escaped anything. Now Elijah was taken. I know Elijah was taken, but Elijah still went through. He went through running from Ahab. He went through after he called fire down from heaven, and then took a sword and killed 600 prophets of Baal. Got scared of a crazy woman and hid himself in a cave. And God got on to him and told him, said, "Boy, what you doing?" He looked out the cave. He says, "I'm not in the thunderstorms. I'm not in the fire. I'm not in the wind. I'm in that small, still voice in the back of your head." And said, "Get out of here. That woman can't do nothing to you." And he went out and he told him, says, "The dogs is going to eat that woman." And Jezebel fell out of a window in a high place up to the ground, broke her neck, and the wild dogs eat her. You know what I mean? So, you just gotta trust God. I mean, look at Elijah. When the drought came, the Lord sent him to the brook of Kidron, and he was fed by the ravens there. And then he sent him to the Shunammite woman's house, where he raised her dead son, and then she gave him the last of her meal and her oil, and then from that point forward, her oil and her meal did not run out in her barrel. I mean, God takes care of everyone that belongs to Him. There's going to come a point in history where all the trees are going to burn up, all the grass is going to burn up. There's going to be scorpions that's going to sting people. I mean, I could keep on going, you know.
And read Big Red's.
What?
Big Red's comment.
And they were told not to harm the grass in the earth or any plant or tree but only those people who did not have the seal of God on their foreheads. That is exactly right. That's why God protects his own.
Prepare your souls first. When you asked how do you prepare for something, you prepare your soul.
You prepare your soul right off the bat.
And then nothing else matters. I mean, how
can they scare you with heaven?
If you die tomorrow, then you're headed to be with the Lord. Why sit here and worry over something? Danny and I don't sit and worry about what ifs. We prepare for what ifs. We have food because we like to eat every day. And I don't prepare our food and can our food and stick it on a shelf and say, well, if something happens, we have food on the shelf. That's not why I do that.
That's not why we do it.
I prepare our food because we eat daily out of that food. And I have whatever the Lord gives us, I put in jars or I put in the freezer or whatever I have to do with it so that we eat every day. Daddy and I literally do not buy that much food from a grocery store. I buy some things from Azure Standard that we can't grow, but we've done without Azure Standard all these years. And if it shuts down tomorrow, I don't have it.
Do without it
again. But just like what we grow, 99% of what we eat is what we grow. We eat daily from our food. So to sit and say prepare your soul. Number one.
Prepare your soul.
And the rest will follow. If you watch and follow the Lord, you don't have to worry about the other things. Yes, we can. Yes, Danny takes and does gardening and he knows we have gas.
You know why I garden? I garden because of Psalm 128.
We like to eat.
Go read Psalm 128 and you'll see why I garden. Because the Bible tells me I am supposed to.
Yeah. And so he has lots of things that I'm just going to try and get that to go. There we go. And we do all the prepping as far as have things on hand, but it's not because we're worried that something's going to happen. We know something's going to happen. We know something will happen. And if we're not here, then somebody will need what we have here, is the way we look at it. We've always prepped for us or somebody else in the future.
And like Wanda said, we don't fret, we don't freak out. I mean, like the CIA put out the latest flood report map, and they said anything with an elevation lower than 300 feet is going to go underwater and you're going to drown. You know? Well, actually they said 600 feet, but they know of 300 foot because the equator is 300 feet higher than the shorelines of any country, and when the earth tilts and the equator moves, then all the shorelines around the countries of the world is going to go 300 foot on, anything 300 feet or less is going to go underwater. Wanda and I are at like 325, around 300 to 325. I'm not going to, depends on where you're at on the property. I'm not going to sit here and freak out because I know that. And they change that monthly, and if you go online and you look at the Navy flood map, don't pay any attention to that. That was a man's visions where that come from. But the Central Intelligence Agency does put a map out every month about what the new floodplain is going to be. And, I do pay attention to it because I look around and I go, okay, you go halfway in the middle of Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi is at 260 something feet, above sea level. And I'm at 300 feet in Jackson, Mississippi, 2 hours inland. That's a lot of water's got to go that distance before it gets up to me. So I'm pretty much hoping and praying that God put me here for a reason. And if he wants to take me home, then so be it. There ain't nothing I can do about it. My time will come. But if not, I'll be here to help the next person along, I suppose. I mean, I don't know.
We will be here till we aren't here.
That's right. We'll be here till we're not here. I mean, that's the way I look at it.
We'll be cool, says y'all might see me float by. grab a tree and holler.
Just grab it.
Get a boat and.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of boats floating around everywhere. You know, I mean, but then you got to stop and think about it. The Bible tells us that a third of the ships will be destroyed in the ocean. And you know, stop and think about what would destroy a third of the ships of the ocean. You take our naval destroyers and aircraft carriers.
You can't hardly flip them.
You can't hardly tear these boats up. But what would do it? I mean, I know what would do it. I mean, an asteroid from outer space hitting the ocean would do it, because a tsunami that would flip them over in the ocean. You know, I mean, there's lots of things. I mean,
but if you live for the fear, and that's what YouTube is doing to people now, and there's so many channels out there. That's why Danny and I are trying not to be. Now he does Porch Time, but he doesn't do it to fear people.
No.
But he's been doing Porch Time for nearly 10 years.
Almost 10 years now.
You know, and that's the biggest time, and he gets on his little thing here every now and then, but not to put fear in people, to inform people. And there's so many out there now that their whole channel is fear.
Yeah.
And if it's where can I find the next thing that's going to grab attention, and so you're sitting flipping through the phone and watching one fear factor after another. And then when you get off, you go, well, now I need to do this and this and this, and you get overwhelmed. Back off and say, what does my family need? And go for it. Don't worry about the fear factor. I mean, to me, there's so much fear out there now till it's crazy.
Yeah. That's it. I mean,
be alert and be knowledgeable.
Just be prepared as much as you can. God, I have a Porch Time coming up that covers a lot of this. So just be looking for the next Porch Time, and we'll be talking about some of this.
Yeah.
You know, you can have knowledge. We've talked about this. You can have knowledge, you can have wisdom, and you can have understanding. If you don't have all three of them together, you're just an intelligent fool. You've got to have all of them. Knowledge is the things that we learn upon this earth. And let's put it this way. Wisdom is knowledge guided by understanding. You know, knowledge is the things that we gather from the Lord that gives us knowledge. We learn knowledge from here on the earth. Understanding is the ability to put the right thing in the right place at the right time. And you put knowledge and understanding together, and you have wisdom. So, that's a message all in itself right there.
All right. So let's go before we get. It's getting late.
We gotta get out of here, guys.
9:30.
Yeah, we done went an hour and a half here, so we gotta quit. So y'all guys have a blessed evening. I hope y'all all had a good 4th or Independence Day. And
I'm anxious to see next Independence Day. America will be 250 years old.
Really?
Isn't that right?
I lived through the first 100. I didn't know if I'd make it to 150.
And I told Danny the other day, when they did the bicentennial, I was in high school.
I was in high school when they did the bicentennial.
I love the bicentennial.
Yeah.
And when they said it was going to be 250 years old, I said, no, wait a minute. That's wrong.
Am I that old?
And I said, they just had the bicentennial. And then I thought, I was in high school.
Yeah.
I mean, high school. So yes, another 50 years has done passed. But I mean, I loved everything about.
Oh my goodness.
The bicentennial. So I hope that our country throws a huge, beautiful 250-year-old birthday.
Well, we'll see, guys. Love y'all. Have a blessed night. Have a blessed day tomorrow, and we'll see y'all next week.
Okay, I'm way off here.
This one is way off right here. All you gotta do.
Yeah,
there you go.